Coming up on today's episode, black bean and butternut squash enchiladas. It is a fiesta in your mouth, baby. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Joey. We are a Whole Foods cooking channel. We do some product reviews. Occasionally there's some episodes with Tim. If you like what you hear so far, please hit that like button. Show us some love. And think about subscribing and becoming part of the Plant-Based Dads family. Do you like seeing these videos every week? Well, you can get them a day early on Sunday morning. Become a Patreon supporter. Our Patreon members are supporters who have monthly contributions that allow us to bring the show to you, allow us to put this together and get it out to the public, and they get early access to the shows before it actually hits YouTube. If you're thinking about that, this is a great time to support the channel, and we would love to have you. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that I'm doing the Starch Solution. The Starch Solution is a way of eating made famous by Dr. John McDougall. It involves eating a high-carb, low-fat lifestyle, all whole foods, all plant-based, and minimizing or eliminating processed foods entirely. It's really worked for me. I've lost 35 pounds. And one of the best places for support for this way of eating, the Starch Solution, is in our Facebook group, Plant-Based Dads Starch Solution Enthusiasts. There's a picture of right here. It is close to 7,000 people who are doing the same thing as I am. Just me and a bunch of friends, right? Cheering each other on, posting photos of our successes. And right now we're in the middle of a 21-day 50-50 plate challenge. So join the Facebook group, get involved in the challenge with us, and do this with us. I'm much stronger when I'm doing this with you instead of by myself. Not only am I trying to eat right, but I'm trying to get some fitness in every day too. So I'm running or walking or just trying to get some exercise. And I've always got my HydroJug. This is a huge jug filled with cold water. And I've always got it available. It comes in many different colors, and there's some great little wraps. You can put it around your shoulder. This one is more geared toward the ladies. So if you're interested in that, there's a link below the video on how you can get one. And our subscribers get a 10% off, which is really nice. You're absolutely gonna love today's video. You know, I live in Phoenix in the Southwest, and I swear Mexican food is like 5 to 6 nights a week. Well, I've got a great recipe for you today. It's black bean and butternut squash enchiladas. It is absolutely delicious. I've been making this for years. I actually have a video on this from years ago. That's actually one of our first videos. I think it's like our third video on the channel. But since then, we've freshened it up a little bit. We've updated it a little bit. And it's a whole food, plant-based meal that you're absolutely gonna love. It's full of flavor. You're not giving up anything. Plus, you can combine it with our cauliflower cheese sauce on top to really give you that effect, you know, that you get with enchiladas with the cheese smothered on top. If you like enchiladas, you're gonna love this. It's completely guilt-free. I can't wait to show you how I did it. Let's get to the food. The first thing I need to do is make the enchilada sauce. I've got a small saucepan here, and I'm adding just a bit of veggie broth for sauteing. The first thing to go in is 4 garlic cloves minced up. I'm going to double this recipe, but for the recipe amount, it's 4 garlic cloves. I'm going to saute these here just to get them nice and soft, about 3 to 4 minutes. Next, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of chipotle chilies in adobo sauce. These are nicely minced. I'm going to mix that around a little bit just to infuse it with the garlic. Next, I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of ground cumin. After that, I've got a 1/2 teaspoon of chipotle chili powder. This is the one I used right here. And I'm going to mix all that up with my little spatula. Next, I'm adding 3/4 cup of reduced sodium veggie broth and a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. Again, I'm doubling the recipe, which is why I've got 2 cans of tomato sauce. Next, I'm putting a little sprinkle of salt and a little bit of pepper to taste. Now, as you can see here, same thing that happened last video, this pot is not big enough. So as you can see here, I've switched to a bigger pot, and I'm gonna let it come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'm gonna give it a good stir and mix it up. Then I'm gonna put the cover on it and turn the heat down to low. And I'm gonna let it simmer for 10 minutes on low heat. During that 10 minutes, I'll take the cover off and just kind of mix it around and make sure it doesn't stick. It shouldn't because it's on low, but this is what I do anyway. Then I'll put the cover back on and let it continue to simmer. After 10 minutes, I'm gonna take the cover off. Looks like it's coming along here. It looks really good. It smells amazing. And I'm just gonna stir it up one last time. You can see I've just shut the heat off there. I'm not gonna need that anymore. I'm gonna grab all that stuff on the sides. That's got that nice concentrated flavor there, and that's the love right there. So now the enchilada sauce is done. I'm just gonna pick this up and take it off the heat, and I'm just gonna put it aside until we need it. Later on, we're gonna need it to coat the enchiladas. Next is time for the filling. I've got a big skillet here, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of water. Here I've got one small onion nicely diced up that I'm tossing in, and I'm moving it around to make sure it cooks evenly. Next I'm dumping in 2 jalapeños diced. Now I've got about 6 cloves of garlic all diced up that's going in. And I'm gonna use my spatula to kind of mix up the aromatics here and get them going. I've got this on a low to medium heat. You can see here that they're starting to saute. If you need to add more water, add it a tablespoon at a time just to make sure nothing sticks. Once you get to the point where it's like discolored like this and translucent, they're ready to go. Now that the aromatics are done, I'm going to start adding the rest of my filling. I've got 2.5 to 3 cups of cubed butternut squash. I bought this already cut up, but I still cut it up into smaller pieces after that. Next, I'm adding a 15-ounce can of fire-roasted diced tomatoes. I'm using these right here. Now I'm using a 7-ounce can of hatch chilies. Here's the one I'm using right here. Now I've got one 15-ounce can of black beans, drained and rinsed really well. Next I'm adding 1/4 cup of filtered water, 1/4 cup of nicely cleaned and chopped cilantro, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder, and I'm going to start mixing all that up to get it incorporated. You know, look at the colors here. I mean, this looks amazing. This is all whole food plant-based. It's going to be a beautiful filling. Next, I'm sprinkling over a smidgen of salt here and a little pepper to taste. You can leave out the salt if you want. And then I'm going to use my spatula again to get this all incorporated. I mix a lot between steps, which is probably not necessary, but this is what I do. Now I'm going to let it heat up until it starts simmering here. Then again, I'm going to take my little spatula because I can't get enough spatula, and you know how that goes. Just want to make sure it doesn't stick. And I'm going to put the cover on here. I'm going to let this simmer for 35 minutes. And between that time, I'm going to take the cover off and just keep moving it around. You can see down the bottom there, it's starting to stick a little bit, but not too much. So I just kind of moved it around. You just want to keep, after this, you don't want it to stick. I've got it on low, so it shouldn't stick, but you don't want it to stick. So just keep moving it around every few minutes. Keep going for 35 minutes. After 35 minutes, take off the cover. It should all kind of look discolored and kind of reddish and orange. I mean, this is what it looks like when it's done. The cubed butternut squash should not still be a bright orange like they were when you first threw them in. It should all look cooked. And this is kind of ready to go. I mean, this looks perfect for an enchilada filling. All right, very important step. You need to take your corn tortillas, which is what we're using because there's no oil in these, and you have to heat them up. This is the second batch I'm making. I'm going to show you what happened in the first batch. It's not pretty, but I didn't heat the corn tortillas up. This is actually me heating them up. Okay, it's Tim heating them up. I'm not cutting this part of the video at all. So the length of time I'm doing this is how long you want to do it. The whole thing is about 45 seconds. He's already flipped it over. You can see there, it's on the second side. Still kind of pressing down, and this is on very low heat. It's on just low, and he's kind of done with it here. He lifts it up and we're done. So that amount of time right there, what is that, 40 seconds? That's how long you want to heat them up. Now it's time to roll the enchiladas. You want to have a 13x9 casserole tray, not a hot dish, and lay out a little bit of the enchilada sauce in there just so the enchiladas don't stick. Now I'm using my little brush just to make sure I get the whole bottom covered. And now it's time to start rolling the enchiladas. As Tim's heating them up, he's handing them to me and I'm rolling. And that's kind of what we're doing. So we're doing one at a time. That's why I don't have the whole bag here, because they're all being heated up singularly. I'm just going to put 1/3 cup of filling in and then roll it up and take the folded side face down. And then I'm going to move on to the next one. You can see here I'm just kind of going along and it's going really fast. Just make sure they're, kind of tight, but not too tight. You don't want to rip them, right? They just need to fold once over with a little bit of slack and then put them face down. You can see here I'm filling up the tray. This will make a little bit more than enough to fit in this tray. And here we are. We've got a nice tray of 12 beautiful enchiladas ready to go. And now I want to show you what happened the first time. Remember, this is my second tray of these. I want to show you what happened right here the first time. Let's go back in time. All right, here I am making these things, and look at this. I've sped up the time frame, but this is just them sitting here waiting for me to put the sauce on them. They started ripping, the shells just completely opened up, and I was stuck with enchiladas that, there's no way I could use these. I had to pull the filling out of all of these and start from scratch. All right, so my enchiladas now are looking amazing. None of them have opened up, so they're perfect. I'm gonna layer on some more of that enchilada sauce. I'm gonna use my little brush here to get them all covered so we don't wind up with dry enchiladas when they're in the oven, right? And I'm gonna take some aluminum foil and kind of go around the edges and cover these up so they don't burn while they're in the oven, although they shouldn't, but just in case, this is what I do. Now I'm gonna throw these in a 400-degree oven, and they're only gonna cook for 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes is up, I can take them out, let them cool off for a minute or two, and then take off my foil, and you can see here, these look amazing. At this point right here, you can take them and put them in baggies and throw them in the freezer. I like to split them off into 2 or 3 in a bag, and that's a meal right there, and throw them in the freezer. And when it's time to heat them up, you just throw them in the microwave for a minute or two, and they're ready to eat. Now it's time to plate up. I've got a nice green festive Mexican plate here. Watch as I'm pulling these off the tray. The one on the side and the glass rips. Make sure you take your spatula and slide it down the side so that doesn't happen. I didn't do that and I should have. And I'm putting some sauce on, and Tim insists on putting some limes as a garnish. Then we're taking our cauliflower cheese sauce. There's a video link right here, and we're putting some of that cheese sauce on top of this. I mean, what's enchiladas without cheese sauce, right? I don't want to live in that kind of world. Next, Tim is putting some chopped tomatoes on there for a little extra boost of flavor. And now we've got some cilantro for garnish. You cilantro haters, I don't want to hear it. And there you have it, a beautiful plate of black bean and butternut squash, whole food, plant-based enchiladas. This is one memorable meal. You're absolutely gonna love these. Let's eat. So what did you think? I absolutely love those. We've been eating those for years. They're so good. We took them to our friend Nini Girl's house over the weekend, and everyone there absolutely loved them. It's hard to compete with her because everything she makes is amazing. But when I can, I like to show up with a surprise or two also. All right, folks, make this recipe. Seriously, you're gonna love it. All right, that's our show for today. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Show us some love. It also helps YouTube recommend our video to other people if they see that people like it. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? You get notified every time we have a new video, usually every Monday. If there's some baking or pickling or fermenting with Tim, that'll be on Saturday. And please leave a comment below. Mexican food, what are your thoughts? I mean, I love it. I could eat it 5 to 6 days a week, and I do. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.